there, you're watching Nightline with me, Sabrina Zainal. The top stories. Severe thunderstorms, heavy rainfall forecast in Kelantan and Terengganu. And SPM test proceeds smoothly nationwide, including flood-affected states. Good morning. We begin with this story. The Malaysian Meteorological Department, METMalaysia, has forecast thunderstorms and heavy rainfall in Kelantan and Terengganu over a 2-day period from Tuesday afternoon to early Wednesday morning. This is based on weather models, which indicated that wind convergence is expected to occur in both states during this time. In a statement on Monday, METMalaysia said that this weather pattern may lead to continuous rainfall in the eastern part of Peninsular Malaysia during this period. The agency also stated that a monsoon surge is also expected to take place in Peninsular Malaysia from December 8th until December 14th. Thus, members of the public are advised to take precautions and avoid outdoor activities until the weather returns to normal. Meanwhile, at least 9 people have lost their lives due to the floods on the east coast so far. The latest fatality involved a motorcyclist who was reported missing after his machine was swept away by floodwaters in Dungun, Terengganu on Sunday. He was found drowned at an oil palm plantation in Felda Kerteh 3 on Monday. The body of 36-year-old Wan Muhammad Firdaus Wan Nasir was discovered by search and rescue personnel at 2:15 p.m., 10 meters from where his motorcycle was found. The victim was reportedly riding a motorcycle following a lorry driven by a friend before being swept away by floodwaters at 5 a.m. The body was then handed over to the police before being taken to Dungun Hospital for post-mortem. The flood situation in Peninsular Malaysia has shown some improvement. The total number of displaced individuals across the 8 flood-affected states dropped to 98,308 as of 10 p.m. on Monday, compared to 138,052 evacuees reported earlier in the morning. Now, Kelantan remains the worst-hit state with 59,930 evacuees housed in 165 temporary relief centers, PPS, throughout the state. This is followed by Terengganu with 27,654 flood victims seeking shelter in 163 PPS opened in 8 districts. Next is Kedah with 7,092 evacuees in 40 PPS in 5 districts. The other states that have seen residents relocated to relief centers due to floods are Pahang, Johor, Perak, Melaka and Perlis, while the situation in Negeri Sembilan has fully recovered. The Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM examination, which began with the Bahasa Melayu oral test on Monday, is proceeding smoothly nationwide, including in several flood-affected states. Education Minister Fadlina Sidek stated that no candidates have been left out from sitting for the examination.
During her visit to the Pasir Mas District Education Office and several flood-affected schools in Kelantan on Monday, Fadlina said that the process of relocating the SPM candidates was fully completed on Sunday. They were placed in hostels through Ops Payung with the assistance of various agencies. She added that ensuring the comfort of the affected SPM candidates was a priority, which included providing books, internet access and computers.
Dari segi persiapan, Alhamdulillah, saya berpuas hati dengan apa yang dilakukan, khususnya di peringkat bawah. Hari ini khususnya di peringkat PPD Pasir Mas, berjalan dengan sangat lancar.
On Sunday, Malaysian Armed Forces ATM trucks were mobilized to Kelantan, Terengganu and Kedah, which are severely affected by floods, to transport SPM candidates between hostels and exam centers. This was to ensure that the SPM candidates were able to reach the exam centers at the appointed time. Over 5,300 SPM candidates were identified as being affected by floods in the 3 states. Meanwhile, Fadlina said that the Education Ministry will consider the proposal to schedule the SPM examinations outside the monsoon season. She noted that the proposal involved numerous aspects that needed careful consideration.
Kerana ketika ini memang jadualnya begitu di hujung tahun dan kita berdepan dengan cuaca ini. Jadi maknanya perkiraan itu kita ambil kira pertimbangan itu.
Following the flood disaster, various parties have requested that the SPM exams be postponed. However, Education Director General Azman Adnan stated that there is no need to delay the exams, as the ministry has a comprehensive mechanism in place to address the issue of students affected by the floods.
At the same time, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim stated that the government has allocated additional funds for post-flood follow-up measures, which are expected to begin in the middle of this month, describing the preparations to address the flood situation by all parties, including the federal and state governments, as exceptional this time. He emphasized that post-flood follow-up actions must also encompass all affected areas nationwide.
Bila surut, tentunya ada beban dan tanggungjawab memulihkan. Sebab itu kita juga sediakan peruntukan tambahan untuk baiki sekolah-sekolah dan pusat-pusat PPS, kemudahan kebersihan, tandas dan sebagainya. Dan juga memerlukan satu tindakan susulan mulai pertengahan Disember ini.
On Sunday, Anwar visited Terengganu to assess the flood situation in the state and meet with flood evacuees housed at temporary relief centers in Setiu. He also expressed his appreciation to all agencies involved for ensuring early coordination across various aspects, enabling better preparedness to assist flood victims swiftly and in an organized manner. Anwar noted that the months of preparedness beforehand had resulted in the aid mission being carried out effectively, with most efforts implemented by government machinery at the federal, state, municipal and district levels across all flood-stricken states. He also called on the private sector to join in providing assistance to alleviate the burden on flood victims.
In another development, Anwar has called on civil servants to significantly enhance their performance in line with the salary increase under the Public Service Remuneration System, SSPA. He emphasized that excellent performance is necessary as the public expects better services from the civil service sector.
Kita setuju itu kerana kita iktiraf, ya, dan kita rasa ini satu yang adil diberikan. Tapi saya hanya mengharapkan saudara memastikan prestasinya jauh lebih baik, ya. Kerana rakyat mengharapkan sesuatu yang lebih baik.
Anwar said this at the Prime Minister's Department Monthly Assembly in Putrajaya on Monday. He also urged civil servants to give their full support to the Chief Secretary to the government, Tan Sri Shamsul Azri Abu Bakar, who has taken several steps for the reform of the public sector. Anwar, who is also the finance minister, is confident that performance improvements can be achieved because human capabilities can be enhanced beyond what has been accomplished so far. Under the SSPA, which began this month, the range of salary increase that civil servants will receive is between 16.8 to 42.7%.
Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim granted an audience to Timor-Leste Prime Minister Keirala Janana Guzmao at Istana Negara on Monday. The 30-minute meeting was also attended by Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan. Also present was Malaysian Ambassador to Timor-Leste, Datuk Amarjit Singh Sarjit Singh. Janana Guzmao arrived in Malaysia on Sunday night for a 3-day official visit, his first after assuming office on July 1st last year. Meanwhile, Malaysia fully supports Timor-Leste's ascension as a permanent member of ASEAN and will leverage its role as chair of the regional bloc next year to expedite the membership process. This commitment was expressed by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim during his meeting with his Timor-Leste counterpart, K. Rala Janana Guzmao, on Monday.
Earlier, Shanana Guzmao was accorded an official welcoming ceremony at Perdana Putra Building in Putrajaya. Both he and Anwar then proceeded to a meeting to discuss bilateral relations and explore potential areas of cooperation between the two countries, including on Timor-Leste's full membership in ASEAN. Malaysia believes that Timor-Leste's membership will reinforce ASEAN's strategic objectives while also strengthening the region's unity and prosperity.
We're looking forward to their being embraced as a permanent member this year, following year in 2025, when we chair ASEAN, and we'll do whatever is necessary to assist Timor-Leste so that that process can be further facilitated and accelerated.
Speaking at a joint press conference with Anwar, Shanana Guzmao expressed his gratitude for Malaysia's commitment to supporting Timor-Leste's ascension as a member state of ASEAN.
The partnership between our two countries reflects the strength of our cooperation and our mutual desire for peace, stability and development in the region.
Timor-Leste is currently awaiting the consensus of ASEAN member states to be accepted as a full member of the regional bloc. The country was recognized as an ASEAN observer state and joined the ASEAN Regional Forum in 2005 before officially applying for membership on March 4, 2011.
The Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries, CPOPC, must actively develop strategic plans to address the persistent regulatory challenges faced by palm oil producing nations. Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani stated that these ongoing challenges stem from protectionist measures which could lead to trade barriers.
According to Johari, strategic plans must be developed to tackle these challenges constructively, focusing on the inclusivity of smallholders, ensuring fair treatment, maintaining market access, and promoting sustainable practices within the sector. He made these remarks during the 12th ministerial meeting of the CPOPC held recently in Jakarta, Indonesia. In a statement later, CPOPC said the meeting underscored the urgent need to enhance its flagship programs, particularly those related to smallholders, sustainability, and positive campaigns. By doing so, the Council can strengthen its key role in the global palm oil sector, contributing to the achievement of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development while addressing existing global challenges, including trade restrictive measures imposed by importing countries.
Foreign investors continued selling equities on Bursa Malaysia for the fourth consecutive week, recording an outflow of 259.8 million ringgit. They net sold every day last week and have been net sellers for 7 consecutive trading days. Now, in its fund flow report for the week ending November 29th, MIDF Amanah Investment Bank Berhad said that the heaviest net outflow was 104.4 million ringgit on Monday. The top 3 sectors that recorded net foreign inflows were plantation, healthcare, and property. Meanwhile, local institutions were net buyers of Malaysian equities for the 4th consecutive week, with net buying of 207.7 million ringgit last week. Now, the average daily trading volume, ADTV, showed declines across all investor classes, with foreign investors registering declines of 8.8%, while local institutional investors and local retail investors saw declines of 3.1% and 3.3% respectively. Vietnam's Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh said the government will strive for economic growth of about 8% next year, significantly higher than the Parliament's goal for 2025. While the National Assembly set a gross domestic product growth target of 6.5 to 7% for next year, Chinh said the government sees 2025 as the year of acceleration and will strive for about 8% growth. It will prioritize promoting economic growth while controlling inflation and ensuring the budget deficit and public debt are within reasonable limits. In addition, the country will also strive to complete big infrastructure projects, including a 3,000-kilometer expressway and basic completion of Long Tan International Airport's initial phase. Frankfurt closed gap on Bayern. Sports after this breather.
Usahawan di serata Sabah, Karnival Jom Heboh kini kembali ke Sabah pada 27 hingga 29 Disember ini. Jom kembangkan jenama bisnes produk mahupun perkhidmatan. Selain pelbagai aktiviti menarik sepanjang Karnival, keterangan lanjut hubungi kami di maklumat yang tertera. Sertai kami sekarang, ba.
Bangsa Puri, jadi perhentian kaki lalok peroleh bekalan dadah.
Aku 1 minggu tengok buku kau. Sekarang mana kau simpan barang? InsyaAllah lah, jangan packing kau sokonlim macam tube tu.
Operator sebagai perantara, taktik sindiket elak kegiatan haram dikesat.
Sebelum kau naik, kau tengok dia dulu. Telefon lah. Kau call operator.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kita kena pasti kejadian ini bukanlah lagi kes penderaan, sebaliknya adalah satu kes bunuh.
Ibu mangsa dan juga Echa bergerak pergi ke kenderaan dalam keadaan mangsa kakinya terkulai seperti tidak sedarkan diri.
Ada satu kes yang berkaitan dengan perebutan hak jagaan anak angkat.
Bekas suami datanglah, cakap nak ambil anak. Dia terus bawa lari anak-anak lah.
Ada drama baru lah kat Facebook. Nak download lah tu. Ingat jangan download ataupun share laman web Cetak Rompak. Jangan.
Lebih segar, lebih dinamik. Laporan komprehensif menghidupkan pagi anda.
Buletin pagi dengan waktu yang baharu. 9.30 pagi setiap hari bermula 1 November.
Sports now, football, the German Bundesliga. Omar Marmoush continued his prolific form with a brace as Eintracht Frankfurt thrashed Heidenheim 4-0 away on Sunday, cutting the gap on league leaders Bayern Munich to 4 points.
After a slow start, the visitors took the lead in the 23rd minute when Egyptian international Marmoush produced a classy finish inside the box. Substitute Fares Shaibi then made it 2-0 just 4 minutes after the restart, firing a sublime shot from the edge of the box. Frankfurt continued their brilliant momentum as Marmoush netted his second in the 58th minute following a driving run from inside Heidenheim's half, marking his 13th goal in 12 league games. Frankfurt's young striker Hugo Ekitike then sealed the 4-0 rout when he slotted home Ansgar Nauf's cross just before the final whistle. With the win, Frankfurt are now second in the league with 26 points, while Heidenheim dropped into the relegation zone after losing their last 4 matches.
Still on football, the Liga Portugal. Angel de Maria was on target again for Benfica as they beat relegation strugglers Aruca 2-0 away on Sunday.
Benfica opened the scoring in just 12 minutes following an own goal by Arouca's defender Jose Fontan as his interception of Kerem Aktürkoğlu's cross ended up in his own net. The Eagles were then awarded a penalty in the 70th minute after goalkeeper Nico Mantel made a reckless challenge on Leandro Barreiro. Argentine Di Maria then sealed the 2-0 victory, calmly converting from the spot for his 6th goal in his last 3 matches. The win puts Bruno Lage's side trailing leaders, Sporting, by just 5 points, whilst having a game in hand.
Moving on to Formula One, the 2024 Qatar Grand Prix. Max Verstappen avenged his overnight demotion from pole position by securing his 9th win of the season and 63rd of his career with a dominant triumph in Doha.
In a race shaped by a litany of stewards' decisions and penalties, including a harsh late 10-second stop-go for Lando Norris of McLaren, the newly crowned 4-time world champion was flawless as he came home 6 seconds ahead of Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. That result meant McLaren, even with Oscar Piastri's finishing 3rd, were unable to clinch their first constructors' title since 1998 and have to try again in the final race in Abu Dhabi next weekend. George Russell finished 4th for Mercedes despite being handed a late-time penalty. Meanwhile, Zhu Guanyu picked up his and Sauber's first points in 8th, and Norris could only finish in 10th after being dropped to 15th by the penalty. Verstappen's success in Qatar was not enough to keep alive Red Bull's challenge for the team title, leaving McLaren on top with 640 points, 21 points clear of Ferrari with 1 race to go.
Dozens dead in Guinea Stadium stampede. The details when Nightline returns.
Kita kena pasti kejadian ini bukanlah lagi kes penderaan, sebaliknya adalah satu kes bunuh.
Ibu mangsa dan juga Echa bergerak pergi ke kenderaan dalam keadaan mangsa kakinya terkulai seperti tidak sedarkan diri.
Ada satu kes yang berkaitan dengan perebutan hak jagaan anak angkat.
Bekas suami datanglah, cakap nak ambil anak. Dia terus bawa lari anak-anak lah.
Entah berapa banyak senjata yang beredar dalam negara kita. Ini sangat membimbangkan kerana ini adalah satu ancaman keselamatan kepada negara kita.
Mak, Sarah dengan Rashid dah 3 tahun dah bercerai.
Polis Peronda setiap Jumaat 10 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Lebih segar, lebih dinamik. Laporan komprehensif menghidupkan pagi anda.
Buletin pagi dengan waktu yang baharu. 9.30 pagi setiap hari bermula 1 November.
Doa lah daripada kawan-kawan semua, sahabat-sahabat semua. Itu je lah yang saya nak.
Kang kena kecam, Kang. Ha? Apa dah berlaku ni Melody? Fikir masak-masak Melody.
Melody dah tukar siaran rupanya. Okey, anda kena saksikan setiap hari Khamis.
5 Disember ini, Melody akan bersiaran jam 9 malam hari Khamis.
We're back with the foreign front. At least 56 football fans were killed in a stampede during a local tournament match in Nizirikore in Guinea. The chaos on Sunday began after fans of the visiting team, Labe, protested a referee's decision and started throwing stones, which led to a crowd surge onto the field. Local media reported that children were among those who lost their lives. Police were also reported to have used tear gas to try and disperse the crowd. Meanwhile, the government has initiated an investigation to identify those responsible for Sunday's incident, adding that regional authorities were working to stabilize the situation. Australian police have arrested 13 people on Monday in what authorities described as the largest ever cocaine bust in the country's history. The Australian Federal Police said they have charged 11 men and 2 juveniles after tracking a fishing boat that allegedly traveled to meet a mothership loaded with cocaine off the coast of Queensland. After the boat broke down 18 kilometers off the coast, police carried out multiple arrests and seized 2.3 tons of cocaine with a street value of $494 million. The arrested individuals, each of whom was charged with conspiracy to import a commercial quantity of border-controlled drugs, were expected to appear before court on Monday. They face a maximum penalty of life imprisonment if convicted. In the meantime, an alliance of civil society groups in the Philippines filed an impeachment complaint on Monday against Vice President Sara Duterte on grounds of grave misconduct and constitutional violations. The complaint accused Duterte of corruption and violating the Constitution by refusing to attend hearings on her budget in her capacity as Vice President and Education Minister, which violated the system of checks and balances. It also accused her of gross incompetence and dereliction of duty. A representative of the Akbayan opposition party endorsed the complaint along with civil society and religious leaders, as well as former government officials critical of her father. The impeachment bid is the latest twist in a high-profile row among 3 of the Philippines' highest office holders after the collapse of a powerful alliance between their families led to Marcos's landslide win in the 2022 election. Moving on, former Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Yaalon has accused Israel of committing war crimes and ethnic cleansing in the Gaza Strip, echoing the allegations by the International Criminal Court against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister. A former Army Chief of Staff, Yaalon told Israeli media on Sunday that hardliners in Netanyahu's far-right cabinet were looking to chase Palestinians from northern Gaza and wanted to re-establish Jewish settlements there. He added that at the end of the day, war crimes are being committed. Pressed on the ethnic cleansing appraisal, Yaalon also said that there is no more Beit Lahia, no more Beit Hanun. The army intervenes in Jabalia, and in reality, the land is being cleared of Arabs.
Meanwhile, Zionist forces have continued to bombard Gaza on Monday, attacking Jabalia in the north and Abasan al-Kabira in the south, as rival Palestinian groups Fatah and Hamas meet in Cairo to discuss a proposal to reopen the Rafah border crossing. At least 25 people were killed when Israeli warplanes hit and leveled an inhabited home in Beit Lahia in northern Gaza. Witnesses said that efforts were still ongoing to search for survivors under the rubble of the building in Beit Lahia project area where women and children had sheltered. In the meantime, Fatah on Sunday said that it is holding discussions in Cairo with the resistance group Hamas on Egyptian proposals regarding the reopening of the Rafah border crossing. The group is keen on an immediate end to the Zionist war on the Gaza Strip, expediting aid delivery and initiating reconstruction.
And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at snippets of the newly renovated Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, which is set to reopen its doors next week, 5.5 years after a fire gutted one of the French capital's most beloved and visited monuments. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and stay safe.